Alright, yo guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another video here on Boston 99 Rebuilds. And in today's video, as you guys can probably tell by the title here, this is going to be the first episode of my podcast. So, yeah, this is going to be episode 1. Just got some gameplay going while we play. While I talk about this. Episode 1 here is going to be talking about the team you can see that I'm playing as, the Boston Celtics. So basically here, guys, I'm going to be discussing the state...
Celtics.
Oh, yeah, so we're joined by Ben Lemos here to help us out with talking about the Celtics since we're both Celtics fans. So, yeah, basically about the current state of the Celtics, maybe what we could do to contend. I'm really bad at playing 2K here, as you guys can probably see, so, you know, that's me just playing 2K, messing around. But anyway, yeah, if anybody, you know, has any suggestions for another topic to cover, please make sure to let me know in the comments down below. And go subscribe to Ben Lemos too.
Yes, that'll be gratefully appreciated.
And then, so I'm going to get into this first. So basically, I think the Celtics are right now a 3 to 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. On a bad day, they could even fall to 5, and here's why. I think it's because that the East, I think, is so much better than it was. Like, there's teams like, you know, it was really just dominated by the Cavs, Raptors, and around like the 2015-16 time, you know, around that season, and then 2016-17 Celtics really broke out, and then it was you know, kind of dominated by the Celtics, Raptors, and Cavs, and then the Cavs lost, and it was still like that, you know, for a bit. Philly kind of came into the mix of it, and now here we are with the Cavs losing LeBron James, bottom of the East, blah blah blah. We already know that. So basically here, the Celtics, the East has got better. Last season was just a waste of a season, I have to say. Adding Kemba Walker, I think we're going to be better. We went on that 10-game win streak to start off the season. We were like 10-1. So yeah, so basically here, guys, I think that the Celtics, like their potential as a team is through the roof right now. I think that's kind of something everyone
is crazy.
I think everyone can agree on that. So basically here, guys, I think that the Celtics, why they're a 3, 4, or 5 seed is because I do not see them beating Milwaukee in a 7-game series. Personally, that's just me, as I cannot score here.
Yeah, if they still have Giannis, then yeah.
If they don't have Giannis, it's a different story. But, you know, I do not see the Celtics beating them. Personally, the Raptors, I can see us taking the 7 games, but maybe losing there. Pascal Siakam's incredible play, and Lowry is pretty much why. But basically, you know, I can kind of see that. I can see us beating Miami and Indiana, but the teams I really fear are Philly and Milwaukee. And here's why. I still think we're a 5 seed. You're probably saying, Josh, you know, that's my name, Josh. You know, you're all these teams you're saying that we're good at. What am I saying? We're saying. Yeah. This is why. Yeah, you're saying that you know, the Celtics are only feared by 2 teams, or only fear 2 teams really. But the other teams, you know, they don't really fear. So how come they're all the way down as a 5 or 6 seed? And it's because some regular season games for us, I don't think go our way mostly. Sometimes there's teams that are contending, like the Bucks. Sixers do have some questionable losses sometimes. Not against us, of course, though. But the Bucks, you know, they don't lose too many games against worse teams, like under 500. Same with like the Miami Heat and stuff, Indiana Pacers. But Indiana sometimes does. But the topic here is we do lose some very questionable games in the regular season. To list a few of those here, I think one definitely has to be the loss to the Spurs. I believe that was in January, late January or mid-January. That one was very bad, I have to say. The Pistons, that when they came in and obliterated us, that was bad. And then the blowout loss to Milwaukee, which ended up only losing by 5. I think it was like 128, 123. I mean, I just think we should put up a better fight if we are contending. So, what do we need to contend? I think we need a good big man. I view Tice more as a backup center, personally. So, basically,
I think we need Al Horford back.
We were good without Horford. If Al Horford was on this team, we wouldn't have probably been able to get Kemba Walker, but, you know, I still think that clearing the Aaron Baines $5 million contract helped, and all that. So
Aaron Baines too.
Basically, that helps getting Kemba Walker. Al Horford was kind of rumored to go to a team I saw like maybe Sacramento or Dallas. Then he went to Philly and things kind of changed. The view of him, the perspective of him in Boston did change. So basically here, guys, what I do also want to add is basically I think that I love Gordon Hayward. I've heard a while the idea of him getting traded, and I think that in the 2018-19 season, he wasn't that good, probably because of his injury. He was not that Utah Gordon Hayward. This year, however, when we started off, until about November, against that game against the Spurs, where he broke his hand to LaMarcus Aldridge when on that hard screen by Aldridge, he was balling. That Utah, he was hooping. He had like 39 points in a game against Cleveland. He was scoring the ball like Utah Gordon Hayward. And then he kind of took a dip once he came back, but it's because while he was gone, Brown, Tatum, Kemba, all those guys were the main three options. So basically, I think that to get a star big man, you're going to have to trade Gordon Hayward. But I don't know who's going to take his contract on. Like, maybe a team like Cleveland, if they re-sign Andre Drummond, but trade him. But, I feel like we could have traded for, like, a Clint Capella, Andre Drummond. And I believe this because look what, for example, Andre Drummond got. They gave up a second-round pick, basically. The Cavs gave up a second-round pick, John Henson, and Brandon Knight, I believe. I
did some research. We could have gotten Drummond with trading Hayward.
See, that's the thing. I think Hayward is a good, honestly, third or fourth option, but he doesn't care, to me at least, I don't think he cares about being in that role. I think that he's accepting it. He would accept that role. Maybe you could trade up in the draft. I do not see us getting like a James Wiseman. I did see some stuff about us. Maybe we could develop Taco. Ben's favorite player there. I did see some stuff here, though, guys, that we could be picking up like on a mock draft, an Isaiah Stewart or a Zeke Najee. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. I think they both declared for the draft, or at least Najee did. And maybe you could use a center like that and develop them, which is going to take some time to contend. Which I'm okay with, because right now I still don't see us beating a team like Milwaukee. What a poster there. I do not see us beating a team like Milwaukee or Philadelphia. So, yeah, basically, I think that, in order to contend, you might need to maybe build through the draft on a center. Keep Daniel Theis as a backup. You could move on from Enes Kanter, although I do like his play. So, yeah, that's just kind of my perspective on what we could do, and although it could take a bit, maybe, Philly or Milwaukee loses some of their star players, and by the time we have a good center developed, they'll maybe take a dip too, and, the standings, and maybe we could come back there. So basically what I'm trying to say is we could build a center through the draft, which is going to take a while, but by the time maybe the center's developed or the player, we could, basically, the other teams won't be as good. So another thing I have to say is, there are teams like, for example, the Golden State Warriors, who draft really well, I would say. They're a team that drafts like Patrick McCaw and Eric Pascal, two players they drafted, for example, and ended up being very solid. McCaw being a very solid rotational player, and Pascal being this year a star player on this team, basically, but next year a key player. So basically, I think they're a team that drafts well. I wish that we could have something like that happen with like a Grant Williams, or maybe if we took like a Brandon Clark in the draft, because he's doing good for Memphis, Summer League MVP. So I think that if that were to happen, that would be key. If we could, get a good player through the draft and, build them up. Like, I was kind of expecting Carson Edwards to go a little bit more ahead in the draft, a little bit higher in picks, and I feel like he is overshadowed in the G League. I feel like he could be a nice rotational player for us. I think we've definitely established Brad Wanamaker as the backup point guard for sure. But I do think that, I do think that maybe Carson can be something if we don't bring Wanamaker back in free agency. I think he's on another one-year deal, but I would like to bring him back. And maybe we can get Carson like 10, 15 minutes a night. That's just kind of what I think about it, because, the main Celtics rotation I see usually is the core guys that play are Kemba, Jaylen Brown, Tatum, Hayward, and Daniel Theis. Then you got the guys who play off the bench, and Smart, Kanter.
Marcus Smart recently was the starter.
Yeah. Well, when healthy. But yeah, you got Marcus Smart, Grant Williams, Robert Williams, Brad Wanamaker, Enos Cantor off the bench, Javonte Green occasionally gets minutes, and Edwards too. I'd like to see Edwards develop. I'd like to see us get a good player through the draft and develop them really well. Obviously, I can't complain because Tatum and Brown and Smart are all guys through the draft that developed. And Tice, when he was a rookie, when we picked him up, was good for us. I mean, he's turned into our starting center. Wasn't through the draft, but hey, picked him up from overseas, so almost the same thing, I guess. So basically, yeah, he's not as old as some. He's a little bit on the older side of players on our team. So we're a young team, I have to say. But I'd like to see us develop, have Robert Williams develop. Maybe he's a guy that can solidify themselves as a starting center. Like when I do rebuilds in 2K and stuff, usually the Celtics have a good center. In one way that I was hoping we could pick up a James Wiseman is through the Memphis Grizzlies pick. That I'm saying we have a good center usually when I play against the Celtics, but that's just a game. So basically here, I'm so bad at 2K. Basically here, I was thinking to get a James Wiseman if Memphis was bad and their pick was lower, maybe, or but we're gonna get their pick this year because it's gonna be top. I think it's 6 protected or something like that. So basically, we'll end up getting their pick. I was hoping they could be bad, maybe even get their pick this year, and then we could draft a center next year because it'll be ours no matter what. If it's not ours this year, but if that makes sense. So basically, here though, guys, that's basically what I was talking about. That's what I think we need to do. Just get a good big man, get rebounds. I mean, a while back, when Horford was our starting center, I think we had some trouble getting rebounds, to be honest. Horford was a better, I think, defender than rebounder and stuff, as Wanamaker gets that steal. So, yeah, if that makes sense, though. So, basically, I think that, if we solidify ourselves with a good big man, I was thinking maybe starting Enos Cantor would be helpful, but, Brad Stevens has his ways. So, Brad Stevens, I'm a fan, but I feel like he should have called a timeout in the game against the Rockets where Tice had that shot. I feel like that was almost the obvious move, but, we did go on that 10-game win streak, with Brad Stevens. A while back, we had like a 16-game win streak under Brad Stevens. I feel like he's the guy in Boston that needs to be our coach. He needs to stay as the Celtics coach. But basically, for other stuff, I think that Brown and Tatum are developing. Hayward could be an all-star maybe next year, hopefully. And maybe you could keep Gordon Hayward by getting a good center. Because I don't think a team like Utah is going to trade you Rudy Gobert. He's eligible for the Supermax, I believe, because he's been there his whole career. Blah, blah, blah. You guys probably understand. So I feel like we're not getting a Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns type player. I feel like those teams won't give those players up. They want to see what they can do with those players. So that's kind of what I'm feeling. That maybe, I think that I would like to keep Gordon Hayward. I feel like he's a very good player. Kind of like Golden State when they had Durant and Curry and Clay kind of as the big three.
Well, they still have Durant. I mean, they still have Curry and
Clay. Yeah, but basically I would have to say that I think that them having like a Draymond Green as the 4th option really worked for them. And I think Hayward is a better player than Green, but right now, but, I always kind of thought he has been, but, that's just me, and I think that maybe Hayward can be, like, that 4th option for us that is good at being the 4th option, basically, if that makes sense, but,
How do you feel about, Draymond Green having a little brother, Andre Green, that wants to come to the NBA?
Andre Green. That's funny. Yeah, of course, this YouTube channel, Sum It Up, kind of knows a bit about Andre Green, but
yeah, he knows a lot.
Yeah, definitely go subscribe to Sum It Up, great YouTuber. But anyway, yeah, that's kind of what I have to say for us. If you guys want to see another team's podcast like this, make sure to let me know. Rebuilding that team is obviously what I do on this channel. Do 2K videos. Also, if you guys want to see, maybe trades that could happen this offseason, a mock draft or something like that, ranking. I think I'm going to do something called ranking, like the top 10 players from each position and stuff like that. So please make sure to leave a comment down below about what you guys want to see on this podcast. Talking about the state of every team. Definitely what I'm going to do for sure is once free agency hits, whenever it's going to be, is definitely talk about moves that have happened. Definitely make a video discussing those moves and give you my 2 cents on it. Joel Embiid, then review that. But basically here, that's what I have to say. I think that we've solidified ourselves as a threat in the East. I mean, we had that one nice win against Philly without Kemba Walker, but, without Joel Embiid, they beat us, so. And I remember we would always win without Kyrie, and everyone's like, maybe we are better with Kyrie. I don't think we were. I think we were, maybe better without Kyrie. Because he took some weird shots for us, did some questionable things, I guess. But it's whatever. I think we're still happy campers right now. I mean, with what the draft has done for us, we've really lucked out in the draft because of the Paul Pierce trade with the Brooklyn pick and the Garnett trade to Brooklyn. I think that trade is so good for us now that we have Tatum and JT, Jaylen Brown. Now, the Kyrie trade, I personally think we should have never traded Isaiah Thomas. I was never a fan of it right when it happened. It's because we gave up that Nets pick and Jay Crowder, who's a nice rotational guy. That Nets pick. Yeah. He's a starter, Jay Crowder. He was the Nets pick. Turned out to be Colin Sexton. So I think if we kept that Nets pick, we could have maybe got some value for it in a trade. If we still had Isaiah Thomas, if we decided to give him max in free agency.
I think Isaiah Thomas is going to come back.
Because his hip injury, I think, is a key reason we traded him. But basically, what I'm trying to say here is that I think that, giving him, maybe IT the max would have been helpful. But keeping Jay Crowder, seeing what would happen there, and then maybe if we didn't even bring Isaiah Thomas back, we could have drafted like a Colin Sexton, who I hear some stuff in Cleveland, like they don't like they think he's a ball hog. I think he's a great player, to be honest, or has great potential. So basically here, guys, I think that we could there's obviously like a what if situations. What if that Kyrie trade never happened? We could have got we could have still had Isaiah Thomas. And the weird part about this all is, for me, sometimes it still feels weird. Like, Kyrie Irving was a Celtic, like a guy who I would honestly think would have stayed in Cleveland his whole career, played for the Celtics. So I'm happy we have Kemba now. I think Danny Ainge really lucked out getting Kemba. Anything else you want to add, Ben, about the team?
I can't find anything. You cleared everything up.
I mean, I think that we're in a good spot. I do. I think that we are in a very, very, very solid spot. I wish Enes Kanter got more minutes, though. I feel like he's...
and Jaylen Brown keeps doing their thing, then I think we're solid.
I have to agree there. I think that they're doing their things a lot. I think Kemba's our franchise point guard. I think Tatum's our best player.
Kemba's been missing a lot of his shots that he should have made.
I think Tatum's our franchise player. I think we can agree on that.
I can believe that.
Like next year, power rankings say, whatever happens in free agency, I think Isaiah Thomas is, Anthony Davis is staying in LA for sure. So considering that, as he's basically the biggest marquee free agent, I would have to say here though, guys, that the power rankings next year, we could be like I think we were high in the standings all year. I feel like we could be maybe like 3 to 7 or 8 top team in the league. The teams in the West, I fear, are the Lakers, Clippers. I think we have Denver's number. When Kemba got hurt that game, we put up a good fight. But, then we hammered them in Boston in December. I believe like December 6th or something. But I think that we are good against, interconference matchups too. There are games that I think we shouldn't have lost. Another one was that OKC game when Kemba dribbled it in the backcourt. OKC's a very solid team. They didn't have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who I think could be their best player. And honestly, that one kind of got me upset that we weren't able to hold on in that game. Tatum wins player of the game here. That's just kind of what I have to say. I think that we should have been able to hold on in that game and just, not blew it. Like, those are some what-if things happen. I mean, we beat Indiana, I think the next game in Indiana. Guys, the weirdest thing about that is, Indiana was down like 16 or like 18 with like 6 minutes left or like 5 minutes left. And they came back, and they only lost by 3, I believe. That can't be happening. We should be holding leads. The Houston Rockets games, we had a 17-point lead without Kemba Walker. We should have held that lead, I think, too. Of course, Houston's a very good team. But if we have a lead, I think we should be able to sustain it. I think that everyone, all Celtics fans and fans of teams in the NBA. But if you guys have any anything else to add, maybe anything I missed, make sure to please let me know down below and leave a comment about what you guys think here. What other things you would like to see? Tell me if you guys are a fan of the Ball Up podcast. I'm really happy I came up with this idea to do it. So, my bad. Probably should have covered a bead there. But I think we do have this one in the bat. Never mind, it's a 2-point game here. But yeah, I think that we are a very respectable team as well. And if I had to label us, are we buying, contending, rebuilding, contending? I have to say we want ourselves to be contending. I think we need a big man in order to do so. Like, a lot of teams that are contending, like Milwaukee has a Brook Lopez, which is actually really good for them. There's Jokic on a contending team in Denver. Warriors are in the same boat. I think they need a center, and they're all set again. I mean, DeMarcus Cousins wasn't really what they thought he was going to be. So basically, I do think that we need a good, good center, and we'll be all set. Hayward Slam will probably seal the deal there. But basically, here, guys, that's all I got to say. Really, I think a team like Philly, Embiid, contending team with a good center. Bam Adebayo, Miami, probably a contending team. Miles Turner, teams that want to contend have good centers. And I think Daniel Tice could end up holding the fort down maybe as a backup center. So I think we could. I'm biased towards the team of not trading anyone, but maybe to contend we might have to make a trade with some bench guys. Maybe like a Grant Williams or something, but the core guys I don't really want to trade. But yeah, that's basically all I have to say here, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. Ben, thanks for being here, assisting me with the podcast.
No problem.
Yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys have not already subscribed to the channel, please make sure to do so. And, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys thought of this video, if you agree or disagree, anything I missed, and, another podcast idea. And I'll see you guys in the next podcast, rebuild, video, anything. Yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.